Hi everyone. In this video we will see about AWS Lambda. We will learn about AWS Lambda function. We will see how to create a Lambda function, how to add code and execute that code inside the Lambda function, and few configurations here and there that are available to us. Okay, so we'll start with our AWS landing page. This is the AWS landing page. From here, I have this option of Lambda. If you don't see the option of Lambda here, what you can do is you can come to all services, compute, and you will have Lambda option here. Or if you want, you can search Lambda, and you will have the Lambda options here. Right, so what I will do, I'll right click, open link in new tab. So this will open this Lambda function landing page. So as of now I don't have any function, and keep in mind that these Lambda functions are region based. So currently I am in Ohio, so if I change this to some other region, I will not get these functions that I have created in Ohio region. So Lambda is a regional service. Right, so what we will do is we will create our first function to learn more about how this AWS Lambda works. Right, so we will author it from scratch. Right, so we will give it a name. Right, so YT demo Lambda. Right, YT means YouTube. So I'm recording for YouTube, so I've given this name as YT demo Lambda. Right, now runtime, we have couple of options here. Right, you can have .NET, you can have Go, you can have Java, Python, Ruby. So I'll be selecting Node.js and specific to 14.x version. Then permission and advanced settings will not check now, so we'll go here and create our function. Once we click this function, one Lambda function will be created for us. So we will wait for half a minute or something, and we will have this new Lambda interface. Right, so this is how the Lambda interface will look like. So if I scroll down, this is where I can write all my functions. So I have one dummy function, export.handle. So the first thing that I want to do is what I usually like to do is come to this settings. Then there is an option called user setting, and I want to increase the font size because the font size is very small. I don't like that font size, so I will come here. We have the option of font size. Usually I like to go till 16. Right, so once that is done, we have now reading the font size has increased. Right, so now we have one index.js file. So in this Lambda function, if we want, we can create a new file. Right, new file. So I can create a new file. Right, so this is a test file. If I save with this Control S, I can give it a name, test.js. Right, so I can save it. So this will create a new file for me. I have the option to delete the file, so I can delete the file. Right, not only file, I have the option to create folder. Right, so what I can do is I can create a folder called helpers. So inside this folder, if I want, I can create more files. Like I'll create one example, hello world.js. Right, so I can open it by double clicking. So what I can do is function hello world. For now let's not take any argument. Right, and all we will do is console.log right, hello world. Now what you have to do is you have to export this function. So module dot exports equals to hello world. Right, the next thing that I have to do is I have to import it here. Const hello world equals to require. Right, I'll require I'll go I can do like this, helpers slash hello world, right? And I don't need any of this for now. So what I can do is hello world, just call the function. So the next thing that we have to see is there is a deploy option. So unless we don't deploy, this code will not go to the for the execution. So what we'll do is we'll do deploy, right? Then to test this, we have this option to test here, right? So first thing that we have to do is configure test event, right? This is just a dummy test event. So it doesn't take any special character, so we'll name it like this, dummy test event, right? And we will say create. Now what we have to do is we have to run the test, right? So we got this log message, hello world, right? So this is how we can create additional files, import them into this main index.js and run them. So this is one thing. Second thing is we have this option to go full screen, right? So we can do this full screen and work on a larger window, right? So I can minimize this one. So this is one way to create the Lambda function. There is another option which says upload from. So if you have a ready-made JavaScript project or a JavaScript project, so what you can do is you can upload a zip file from your local machine, or you can also upload it from Amazon S3. So that is also another way to create your Lambda function, right? So the next thing that we will see is this runtime settings. So if you remember, I selected Node.js 14 as our runtime, right? We have another option here, handler, index.handler. So if you see this one, this is the index, this is the handler. So for some reason, if you want to remove this handler as main, which I usually like to do, so I'll change that name, right? And now if I test this one, it will fail because we are saying it should be index.main, but it says index.handler, right? So all we have to do is change this to main, right? Deploy and test this one, right? So now this will work because now it says exports.main. So now our handler is export index.main. So in index we have this main function. So that's how you can change. It's not compulsory to have exports.handler. So how I usually like to write this function is like this. I don't like this exports.main syntax. So what I usually do is async function main, or if you want you can have the name handler also, right? So I'll pass this as event, right? So this is the event that it argument that it takes, right? And here I will write whatever function I want to write, right? And now what I will do is module dot exports equals to main, right? So this is how also I can write my function. So I will deploy, right? And I will run the test, right? So it will print this hello world for me. So it's not compulsory to have that module export handler syntax. So next thing that I want to discuss is about this test function. So this test function, what this will do is I'll say configure test event. So whatever event whatever JSON object I will pass here, right, that will come to this event argument, right? So what I can do is I can do console.log event, right? And I will deploy. Now if you see our test argument, it says key 1 value 1, key 2 value 2, and key 3 value 3, right? So now if I run this test, right? So this is the input that I get. So whatever is in my test event, the same thing will come as the event parameter inside our function, right? So now we can configure a multiple test, right? So what we can do is so we will say create a new test. Right now if you see, there are a lot of template from which we can create a test. So what I can show you is API, right? So just see, if you see this example, API gateway proxy. So when we work with API, right, so this is the kind of input that API gateway injects into our HTML. So if we want to test that, we will select this kind of template, right? So there are a lot of template, like AppSync template. So this is how the AppSync will inject event into our Lambda function. So if you want to test, you can test with this kind of ready-made template, right? So I will test with some simple hello world template, right? So I will name this as test1, right? So what I can do is I'll remove all of this, and I will just keep this as key1 and value1. So for test1 I have key1 and value1, right? I have option to format JSON also. So if something is not formatted properly, I can click this button and this will format it for me, right? And now I'll create this one. I'll create another test event called test2, right? So create new test event. We'll keep the template hello world, right? We will say test2, right? This time I will keep only key2 and value2. So just to do format JSON, just to make sure that all formatting is correct, then I will say create, right? And I'm console logging my event. Now if I run this test event 1, right, I'll get key1 and value1, right? Now if I run test2, I'll get the key2 and value2. So like this I can configure multiple test events so that I can test multiple scenarios in my index.js file. So now we have covered our code, we have covered test, right? So there is option to monitor, right? So in this monitor, one thing that I want to point out is view in CloudWatch logs. So what this will do is everything, it will log all our console event in this CloudWatch, right? So every time we modify our Lambda function, a new log entry will be created. So if we go and see this latest one, right, we should have that key1 value1 and key2 value2 log, right? So this is the first test event and this is the second test event. So this is where if you want to debug something, you can come and check what log has happened. If there are exception, it will log here as well, right? And these are all the CloudWatch log that it has created. We have couple of options here, right? So if you select all, if you want, you can delete, right? For now I'm not deleting, and all the events are timestamp based, and every time you do a new deployment, right here, if you go and click on deploy, next time when the CloudWatch will log, it will create another entry here, right? So every time you write a new Lambda function, deploy a new Lambda function, new entry will come. Okay, so the next option is this configuration, right? So by default we have 128 MB of memory and timeout is 3 seconds, right? So I'll just do one small demo, right? So I have this helper function, right? So what I can do is, in this hello world function, I'll write a sleep function. So what this sleep function will do is it's kind of simulate some task that is taking very long time, right? So I'll come here, I will say sleep, right? And I should export from here also. So once I have exported, right, what I can do is, since this is asynchronous, right, what I can do is await, right, sleep, I will just say for 2 seconds, right? I will deploy, right? So you can assume this is some long running task that takes 2 seconds. So now if I run this, ideally this should pass because our timeout is 3 seconds, right? So it passed. Now what I will do is, our timeout is 3 seconds, I will increase it to 4 seconds, right? I just want to show you the timeout exception error. So this will throw out the timeout exception, right? So if you see this one, task timed out, right? So if you have any task that is taking long time and you are getting timeout exception, this is the place where you should come, right? Edit. So I will make it as 6 seconds, right? I will save this one, right? Now I'll come to code. Now I have 4 seconds of wait and 6 seconds of timeout. So now in this case this should work. So we are waiting for 4 seconds, right? And this printed key 2 and value 2. So this is all about your configuration and general configuration. The next thing that we will look is this environment variables. So what this does is, it gives us some environment variables. So there are few things like database password or admin credentials that we don't want to expose in our code. So what we will do is we will keep them as environment variables. So say for example, this is I'll give one environment variable as db user, right? And I will say admin. I can add one more, say db pass 1 minute, db password as password. These are some dummy information, okay? So I'll save this one, right? So how to access these environment variables, right? So what I can do is, I'll remove this wait because I don't want to wait anymore, right? So what I can do is const db user equals to what I will do is process dot env dot, then our environment variable name db user, right? And const db password equals to process dot env dot db password. So I'll just cross check if the spelling and everything is correct. db user db password, db user db password, okay, looks correct. Right, now what I can do is, I'll just do console.log, right? db user and db password. So this should take data from my environment variables and do the console log, right? And every time you change your code, you have to click on this deploy, otherwise it will not take the latest code. So I will run the test, right? So it has printed admin and password. So these are my environment variables that I had added. Much for this video on Lambda. Next video we will discuss some more advanced topics.